Eva Baroni Combs, yes, it was breaking news. Diddy adopted a white child. I want you to tell them the story. I adopted you because I felt that you could, enjoy also having a black parent to take care of you and help you out. So
there's a lot of things that people do that end up sitting and they can't get over it. And they got to keep getting high, hoping to get it out of their head, but when you lose your man card.
Terrence Howard just dropped a bombshell, and this time it involves Diddy allegedly tracking his adopted daughter, Ava. Things are spiraling fast, and it's about to get very messy. We all thought Terrence was done with Diddy after claiming, Diddy once tried to make a move on him. But now, it seems Terrence might be holding on to more secrets than he let on during that podcast interview. And the truth is starting to unravel. And get this, the feds seem to be catching on. The indictment against Diddy was just updated with 2 new charges and some serious additions to the original list. Word on the street? Ava is allegedly one of the new victims named in the case. If that wasn't wild enough, rumors are flying that Ava herself is preparing to take the stand and testify against Diddy in the upcoming trial. That's right. Though why? Heat is rising, and it's starting to look like Terrence Howard might just be the one to bring Diddy down for good. Now let's get into the full story. Because if you thought it couldn't get more chaotic, Terrence's latest revelations will prove otherwise. During that now viral podcast episode, Terrence dropped a shocking claim. Not only did Diddy allegedly prey on young artists, but he also tried to seduce Terrence himself, attempting to lure him into an intimate relationship.
Hey, did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there, just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to fuck you. That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands off with somebody. A number of producers come in to make the approach. And you threaten to punch them in the mouth. Or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction back.
And in that same explosive conversation, Terrence Howard didn't stop at his own experience. He revealed something even more disturbing, that he wasn't the only black man Diddy allegedly targeted. According to Terrence, there's a dark, unsettling pattern. He claimed that Diddy specifically zeroes in on black men during these infamous so-called freak-off gatherings, parties that, on the surface, look like just another over-the-top Hollywood scene. But underneath? Terrence says there's something else entirely. He described them as calculated setups, places where Diddy allegedly works to break these men down, psychologically and emotionally, stripping them of their confidence, and even, as Terrence put it, robbing them of their manhood. This wasn't just a one-off incident. Terrence made it clear. What he experienced wasn't isolated. Without naming names, he hinted that other powerful men in the industry, black men, have been through the same disturbing encounters. But unlike Terrence, they've stayed silent, paralyzed by fear, shame, or the threat of losing everything. He painted a chilling picture of a man, Diddy, who allegedly preys on vulnerability. A man who strikes when others are at their lowest, using power, influence, and fear as tools of control. According to Terrence, this is not just scandal. It's systemic. And the silence? It's been protecting Diddy for far too long.
Those things. But when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the Puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. get punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You should have a greater desire than being a man.
Now, as you'd expect, the internet was gagged by Terrence's jaw-dropping revelations. Social media exploded. Forums lit up. The streets were buzzing. But just when we thought that was the end of it, that Terrence had dropped his final bomb, the whispers started. Insiders began murmuring that Terrence was holding something back, something bigger, something darker, something that could break the internet wide open the moment it came to light. And Terrence? He wasn't exactly denying it. In fact, he added fuel to the fire. He posted a cryptic video on Twitter. And let's just say, the energy was intense. In the clip, Terrence hinted that he was being threatened. Not just by anyone, but by some very powerful people. The kind of people who don't make empty threats. But Terrence? He wasn't backing down. Not this time. He warned that if the threats didn't stop, he would spill everything. Every detail, every secret, everything he's kept quiet about, and everything others are too scared to say. And just so no one was confused about who he was talking about, he ended the post with one simple but loaded hashtag. Man card. The same phrase he used in that podcast when describing how Diddy allegedly tries to strip black men of their manhood. This wasn't just a post. It was a warning, a shot across the bow. And now? Everyone's watching, waiting, because whatever Terrence is about to reveal next could be the final blow.
And if you're going to speak against me, use the same courage that it took for me to say those truths. Man to man, eye to eye, integrity and in truth. I've spent a lifetime earning the right to speak with the conviction about these truths that I speak. So if you want to tear that down, have the decency to come and say it directly to my face. Say it like a man. The conclusions. Well, we're going to do this respectfully, otherwise we'll end in a duel. And I mean a duel, real life duel, where only one person walks away.
Well, it looks like Terrence Howard is finally starting to spill the truth, or at least some of it. And if the word on the streets is even halfway true, then what he knows has everything to do with Diddy's adopted daughter, Ava Barron. And let's just say, the details are deeply disturbing. For years, fans have been asking the same question. What really happened to Ava? Ever since she suddenly appeared in Diddy's life, then just as quickly disappeared from the public eye, something has felt off. And now, from what Terrence is allegedly starting to reveal, it doesn't just look bad. It looks devastating. Fans are now convinced Ava might be one of Diddy's alleged victims. And the implications? They're chilling. So let's rewind. All the way back to 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic. That's when Diddy made a surprise announcement. He had adopted a young white girl named Ava Barron Combs. No warning, no backstory, just a random Instagram live where he proudly introduced her as the newest member of the Combs family. One day, she wasn't there. And the next, she was front and center, being shown off to millions of followers like a prized possession. At the time, most people took it at face value. It felt like a kind, selfless gesture, adopting a child. In the middle of a global crisis, when so many were vulnerable, people applauded him, called him noble, gave him credit for stepping up. But now? With everything we've learned, that same video hits very differently. What once seemed heartwarming now feels calculated, strange, and honestly, unsettling. Because after that announcement, Ava practically vanished from the spotlight. No interviews. No updates, no appearances, and no one seemed to notice. Until now. Now that Diddy's name is at the center of multiple investigations, lawsuits, and disturbing allegations, everything is under scrutiny. And that includes Ava. And if Terrence is really about to expose the truth, the full, raw, unfiltered truth, then what happened to Ava could be the most explosive piece yet.
My name's Ava. I'm a Scorpio.
No. What's your last name?
Ava Combs.
What's your other last name?
Ava Baroni.
Ava Baroni Combs? Yes, it was breaking news. Diddy adopted a white child. I want you to tell them the story about how I adopted you. But you still have beautiful parents that you're my child also. Please tell the story.
So, I was on the streets, and then Papa Combs decided that he would like to be a caring man. So then he saw me and decided to pick me up and said to come inside and play with his kids.
Like borderline suspect. I don't want nobody. You want to get it clear. I adopted you like Madonna adopted kids, and everybody else adopted kids. Charlize Theron, everybody that's ever adopted Sandra Bullock. I adopted you because I felt that you could, enjoy also having a black parent to take care of you and help you out. So, just clarify it because it's crazy out here online. So, great with the kids. I got permission from your mother. Say all of that. It's crazy out here.
I met Jesse and Lila when I was 6 months old.
6 months.
And then, basically, sisters, all 4 of us. So. And then I always come over.
Yes. And it's Ava Baroni Combs. Come on. Let's go.
And honestly, that wasn't the only red flag. What really made things even more questionable was Diddy's own comparison of his adoption of Ava to Madonna's. Now let's be real for a second. That is a bold comparison to make. Because Madonna's adoption history has been shrouded in controversy for years. Multiple sources have reported that not all of her adoptions followed proper legal channels. And more disturbingly, the Ethiopian World Federation once accused her of human trafficking and child exploitation, claiming she misled families, promising education opportunities in the U.S., only to adopt the children outright. So for Diddy to frame his adoption in the same light? That choice speaks volumes, and not in a good way. But what's really sparking discussion now is the energy in the original Instagram live video he posted to introduce Ava. People are rewatching it and noticing things they missed before. Most notably, Ava looked visibly uncomfortable. Her body language, her expression, her silence. It didn't sit right with a lot of viewers. And then there's the dynamic. Diddy's sons were front and center in that video, but fans started asking, why weren't his daughters more involved? Did Ava express interest in connecting with them? Why was it all about the boys? Considering Diddy's sons aren't exactly strangers to drama, with Justin Combs being named in the Lil Rod lawsuit and Christian Combs facing legal issues of his own, it made the video feel even more uncomfortable. The vibe was off, way off, and the biggest red flag of all? Ava disappeared, practically overnight. Aside from a couple of blink-and-you-miss-it appearances with Diddy's twin daughters, Jessie and Delilah, Ava completely vanished from the spotlight. No more family content, no follow-up posts, just silence. Which is strange, considering she was calling Diddy Papa Combs and had supposedly been welcomed into the family. But now, in light of the explosive allegations against Diddy, including claims of trafficking and abuse, Ava's disappearance feels far more sinister than just a case of media shyness. People are asking, what really happened to Ava Barron? And that's when the plot thickens, because Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, came forward and let it all out. According to Gene, Diddy didn't just mistreat Ava, he used her. He claimed the entire adoption was a publicity stunt, a cold, calculated move to gain sympathy during the pandemic and distract from other messes brewing behind the scenes. Gene didn't mince words. He painted a haunting picture. Diddy found a little homeless girl, brought her into his world under the guise of adoption, and then pretended to embrace her like one of his own, all just for appearances. Behind closed doors, Gene said, it was all smoke and mirrors. Now, while Gene stopped short of directly accusing Diddy of harming Ava, the implication was loud and clear. He hinted that something dark happened, and suggested that people in the industry already know the truth about Diddy's real character. And let's just say, the tea he spilled was piping hot.
It's craziness, man. And you know what's so crazy is, bruh, that all these stories has been around the industry for a long time. All these industry people know that Diddy been acting like this and doing this and trying to engage. Yo, it's a lot of stories that goes around in this industry about not just him, other people. Jimmy Iovine. Ain't nobody talking about Jimmy Iovine. He got charges and everything on him, but he got those publicists that's keeping it out off of CNN. It's keeping it off the major news reports. Nobody's talking about that. This is something that goes on, man, that they're gonna push up under the rug, and a few years later, Bad Boy 5, 6, 7, 8 will be out.
Sadly, it looks like Gene Deal might be telling the truth when he talks about how the industry has a long, shameful history of looking the other way. We've seen it before, time and time again. R. Kelly, Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby. Powerful. Men who were protected for years, while their victims suffered in silence. The pattern is undeniable. Fame, wealth, and connections shielding predators from consequences, until it's too late. And even in Cassie's lawsuit, she made it painfully clear Diddy was surrounded by enablers, people who either turned a blind eye to his behavior or actively helped him cover it up. That's why, when Gene started dropping bombshells, people couldn't help but wonder, what's really been going on behind closed doors? But here's where things take a truly disturbing turn. Gene hinted that Diddy might be in possession of very questionable videos involving Ava. Videos that are allegedly not just inappropriate, but potentially criminal. According to Gene, these weren't just rumors. He claimed that federal investigators are already looking for these videos, that they believe the footage exists, and they're working to uncover the truth. If that's true, then we're not just dealing with a scandal anymore. We're talking about potential evidence of crimes. And if those tapes come to light, they could blow this entire case wide open and bring everything Diddy's tried to hide crashing down with it. Because in a world where victims are too often silenced, this might finally be the moment when the silence breaks.
You understand? It's gonna come to the forefront. Now, what they're looking for, because it was going on the premises of, they're looking for pictures of girls that may appear to be underage in a context. Like they in a act. That's what they're looking for. So now, they're gonna go through all those devices. If somebody got any kind of weird, that they got little kids or little girls or something like that in any kind of pictures or any kind of photos that they took out of there.
And while it seems like 50 Cent has been sitting on some serious insider tea about Diddy for a while now, people are finally starting to realize he may have known more than he ever let on. Allegedly, 50's had the receipts on Diddy long before anything became public. He's been warning us for years, but back then, folks brushed it off. Most people chalked it up to old beef or jealousy, thinking 50 was just being petty because Diddy didn't sign him when he was trying to break into the game. And let's be real, there might be a little truth to that too. We all know 50 Cent. is the king of grudges. Petty doesn't even begin to cover it, especially since he's had a long-running feud with Diddy's go-to DJ. But y'all, it's getting serious now. Dropped a cryptic message saying, "This is why they put that tape out. They know they can't charge him with what we saw, but they know we can't unsee it." Let that sink in. According to insiders, 50 Cent allegedly has evidence about how Diddy mistreated Ava, and he's planning to expose it in his upcoming documentary. That's right. Last year, 50 announced he was producing a docuseries on Diddy, and he didn't hold back. He said, "Did he do it? Coming soon. GLG, Greenlight Gang, and another one." And then added, "Rapper? I thought Diddy was a billionaire. Music mogul. If he's smart, he'll file for bankruptcy." He made it very clear he's the best producer for the job, and receipts are coming. At the time, the Ava situation hadn't come back into the spotlight, but that changed quickly once Terrence Howard started dropping hints. And almost immediately after that, the feds updated Diddy's indictment. That update? It was brutal. The new charges said, "At all times relevant to this indictment, Sean Combs engaged in a persistent and pervasive pattern of abuse, verbal, emotional, physical, toward women and other individuals. Combs manipulated women into orchestrated performances of sexual activity with himself and, at times, with male commercial workers." And it gets even darker. The indictment alleges that Combs used money, career opportunities, rent, and housing as leverage to ensure these women would comply. And when they tried to back out, he allegedly used intimidation and threats to keep them quiet. And then there's this. These acts, known as freak-offs, were elaborate, orchestrated events that Combs arranged, directed, and often recorded. The document accuses Combs and his associates of flying women across state lines and even internationally for these freak-offs. And perhaps the most disturbing part? The feds say that some of these women didn't consent. According to investigators, Diddy allegedly coerced women into these acts and forced them to accept payment afterward, so he could later claim they participated willingly, as if they were just being paid for services. It's a calculated tactic meant to blur the line between consent and coercion. And sadly, it's one that works in the court of public opinion. Too often, the victims are shamed, and the abuser walks away untouched. Now, here's where things go even deeper. The indictment claims that from 2009 to 2018 and again from 2021 to 2024, Diddy knowingly recruited and transported women using force, fraud, and coercion. That's not just disturbing, that's trafficking. And y'all, the word on the street is that Ava may be one of the new victims listed in the updated indictment. Fans have been speculating for weeks now, especially after Terrence and 50 both hinted at Ava's story being central to this case. And it would explain why the feds reopened her file and added new charges. This whole situation has gone from shocking to unthinkable. But luckily, we won't have to wait too long to find out what's really going on. Even though the trial got pushed back, it's starting soon. And if the rumors are true, we're going to be even more shocked than we are now. But until then, what do y'all think? Is Ava the key to finally taking Diddy down? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And when you're done, make sure you check out this next video. It's about to get even messier.